Now that Borderlands 4 has been out for a little over 2 weeks, I thought it would be a great time to get a good ranking of all of our four Vault Hunters from worst to best. Now, when I say worst, that does not mean that the character is horrible and they can't do anything. So, if your favorite character ends up being the first one that I talk about, it's not a big deal. They can do everything perfectly fine, but there is definitely a tier to them. All the different characters can do some pretty crazy things, with some just at different levels and utilizing different bugs going on in the game right now. Like, this game is just loaded, absolutely loaded with just game breaking bugs in terms of outputting damage. So things like that are going to influence where characters end up. I'm going to try to rank them based off of not utilizing those bug mechanics, which will definitely be getting fixed in the future. And we're just going to be going from there, and generally how I feel about the characters. We'll talk about some different, pros and cons of each one as we go along. Also, I've never done this before, but I'm pretty sure YouTube is preventing any of my videos from really being seen widely. Like, this is probably my lowest viewed launch coverage I've had in a game, which is pretty crazy considering it's Borderlands 4. So something I would want to try, if you guys can, leave a like on the video and just comment the name of your favorite Vault Hunter. That's literally all you got to do, is just one word. That would be greatly appreciated. I'm very curious to see if that'll help out. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into these Vault Hunter rankings. So now the question is, who is quote unquote the worst Vault Hunter so far in Borderlands 4? I feel like a lot of you guys have a name in mind, and I do as well. I'm gonna have to give this to Amon. He can do some really cool things. Like the other day, we were just messing around with space lasers and then also force of nature augment in the red tree, and you can just delete bosses. And for most of the bosses, you don't even need a crit knife. Like, you just throw the space laser down, use the forge skill, and you can delete them. It is super cool. There's a lot of really cool things within Amon. There's also a lot of just weird design choices, in my opinion. And one of the biggest things for me that I'm going to be talking about first here is just some of the cooldowns that you have to deal with on this character. Like, it is crazy. So let's just look at some forge skills, for example, to start out with. Okay, so red tree are, if we do a base forge skill here, it's 80 seconds to cool that down. Now, there is a skill, you deal melee damage and it's going to give you some percentage of that forge skill cooldown back. And there's a tree, a skill node in green tree where you get some force skill cooldown rate. So you can speed it up a little bit, but still 80 seconds in a Borderlands game is, I mean, that is crazy, crazy long. Like, most of the time you're gonna be done with a map by then. You do any of the capstones, Molten Royal, it goes up to 90 seconds. It goes up. It's crazy. It's so crazy to me. And forge skills are just such a main part of this character, and I find it really weird that so many of them have really long cooldowns. Really, the only one that doesn't have an insane cooldown to me is the base Crucible. So the straight up double edge, that's 30 seconds. That's fine. Some of these other capstones for there, that stays 30 seconds. This one for Storm Surge is 35 seconds, which is still pretty decent. But that doesn't start until the 18-second duration of the storm field, the shock field, goes away. So it's actually way longer than the 35 seconds. So that one's a little misleading. This one just straight up hurts your build in most cases. And this one goes up to 40 seconds. So it's just very odd to me. And then also with Scourge forge skills, it is bizarre to me, because kind of the whole point of Scourge is you take hits, you build up that vengeance, and that's going to allow you to deal more damage with actual Scourge. Now, one of the best ways that I have found, I did a whole playthrough using Blue Tree all the way till 50 into level 50 plus with Blue Tree. And still, the best way that I found actually utilizing this action skill was never equipping a capstone, because the base forge skill is Firewall, which will put a wall up. So if there's enemies shooting, you can just stay attacking with Scourge, and all the projectiles will be hitting your Firewall, keeping your Vengeance full, and it works out great. You get a nice damage boost. You put on any of these other ones, and they turn it into, a different damaging skill, but you can't get your Vengeance back. They're now just damage related things, and I don't find them very worth it, really, at all. So the forge skills are genuinely one of the weirdest parts of this character that I think they could seriously buff. It's mostly the cooldowns, not necessarily the damage and things like that. It's just mostly the cooldowns. Another example of a cooldown is Rhyme Break here in Red Tree. Whenever Amon's shield breaks, he partially restores shield and detonates, dealing cryo damage to all nearby enemies and freezing them. This is on a 45-second cooldown, and at least to my knowledge, I don't know of a way to lower that cooldown just because it's a skill. 45 seconds is crazy on that. Like Harlow's right now running around insta freezing everybody, has a 30% chance on bullet. You do quick enough fire rate like we do with our Halo Harlo A10 Warthog build with a Jacob's gun. I mean, you just freeze everything on the screen instantly, and it's just constantly happening. Like there's no cooldown at all. This is 45 seconds to just freeze like a small burst around you. Like that is so bizarre. This would be such a fun skill to build around if it didn't have a cooldown. If it just had to break and then by the next time it breaks, you had to fully fill it, then like that's like now your cooldown. So that's still a condition that you can mess with without having just a hard locked 45 seconds, can't build around it cooldown. Like so stuff like that on Amon is really weird to me. But like I said, he can do a lot of really cool things. Like when I was saying earlier, Force of Nature is a great augment. So whenever you deal gun damage while your Onslaughter is active, it's going to prime them and it's going to stack up to 10 times. And those like 10 damage ticks that you basically deal are going to be stored on them. And those 10 stacks, once you hit them with a forge skill or a melee, they're going to detonate. Obviously, you want to hit them with a forge skill because it will actually do the full, 10 stacks of 100%. So if you find a weapon like the Space Laser that hits really hard many times, you're going to be able to take really good advantage of Force of Nature. If you hit, shotgun pellets, it's not going to work out as great. But so like there's a lot of really cool things there. The status effect stuff is really cool with Pyroclast. You can keep this up a lot of the time. My first ever playthrough with Amon, I did green tree stuff. Like the freezing axes are really good. You can get a lot of bonus shock damage. A lightning rod is really good. Like this is awesome for killing bosses. Obviously, it has an 8-second cooldown, so you do got to save it for like some big bosses. And Scourge actually pleasantly surprised me in my playthrough. Like Tail of the Comet is insane. Whether you're using Scourge or just straight up Ordnance, like there's a lot of really cool Ordnance stuff you can do. Blackout is bugged right now, so like these two combined, once Blackout is working, like this will be a crazy combo. Like actually really strong. But none of that really changes the fact that the cooldowns I really think are holding Amon back. So that would be one of the big ways I'd like to see him change. Also, these affinity skills are weird. I just wish it was a kill skill, not like from guns or status effects, because then you could take advantage of My Touch's death with them. Because right now, like, I don't know. I just don't really feel like using a generic kill skill with super conditional like that. Like kill skill is already pretty conditional. You can't really use it on a boss, but now, you have it has to be from a gun or a status effect of a certain element. Like it's got 4 conditions to it, which is strange. So I would like to see those kind of tuned back to just be like some kill skill type things. I know with one of the class mods, if you get a stack of 1, you'll get a stack of all of them. So there are ways of building around it, but I do find the affinity skills to be a little odd. So that's why overall I think Amon is the quote unquote worst. He's not bad, but just compared to the other 3, I think he sits below them. Now, our third best Vault Hunter, this choice was really difficult for me because I think just all of the next 3 can be placed in almost any order. I think you could make a case for any of them being the best, but in my opinion, just taking into account, like I said at the start, different bugs going on, crit knife shenanigans, because like all that stuff will be changed. So I'm trying to, gauge them without all of those crazy metrics going on right now. So our third best Vault Hunter, and it pains me to say it, I think I'm going to have to give it to Harlo right now. Mainly because, like, Blue Tree, I don't see too much of a purpose for Blue Tree right now. I don't know anybody running a Blue Tree build. There's cool things you can do with Blue Tree, but using, green, like our Halo Harlo, when you use Group Study with Nuclear Winter, you're now doing, like, action skill damage with that bonus cryo, which is really cool. So then you can pair that with things like Flash Freeze, and then also Absolute Zero, and you keep it up all the time, get a ton of stacks. It's really good if you're running drills or any sort of extended mobbing section, and you can still boss pretty well. On top of it, you can get, a good couple stacks during a fight. You hit them with some Torgue stickies, and you're fine. Or any of the super overtuned stuff, tasers, spread launchers, anything like that. Like you can use these perfectly fine. But overall, like Harlo is very, very strong. But once again, like Blue Tree, just I don't see too much of a purpose for it right now. And also Red Tree, I think, is super heavily carried by the crit knife right now with all of the neutron capture stuff. Like neutron capture is an insane skill, like just insane. And then once you get the crit knife and all of those critting, like it just goes ridiculous for mobbing and bossing. That's also one of the things I forgot to mention about Amon. It's like you kind of have to, feels like you almost have to pick between mobbing and bossing in a lot of scenarios. Not every build on Amon, but that was another reason on Amon that I had him, below everybody else. But on Harlo here, like it doesn't really matter what you use. Everything's fairly equal for mobbing and bossing. They, sit at like the same calibers. Green Tree Harlow stuff can maybe, if you don't have like really great gear, can definitely lack in the bossing department. At least like super quick, you might have to stack up a few stacks before you actually start the fight. But yeah, so there's like a lot of really cool things you can do with Harlow. Even without the Halo stuff, like potential transference is what I did with leveling, and it's really cool. I mean, this felt like more like a nuke to me than Chroma Accelerator. Like Chroma Accelerator, I felt like wasn't even killing mobs. With the flux generator stuff, like you just throw this into a group of mobs and they just disappear with all the entanglement and all the shock damage. Like it was really, really good. You pair that with like tasers, you can do coronal mass ejection, so they don't have that resistance because like shock, you get a big penalty on anything that isn't shields. So you just straight up do all that taser damage, and you can share a bunch of like it ends up working out really, really well. And obviously, Red Harlow with neutron capture is really good. And just in general, Chrome Accelerator does feel pretty good. But I feel like a lot of these other augments and capstones kind of lack compared to neutron capture. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to end up balancing this. But overall, I do think Harlow is incredibly, incredibly strong. But I think the other two, Rafa and Vex, do it just a little bit better than her right now. Now, we only got two choices left, Rafa and Vex. Who is going to be the second best? This one was genuinely really, really tough. Like the last choice was already really tough. This one, they both have their bugs that they are getting like hard carried by, but they also have a ton of just extremely strong builds that don't utilize any bugs. So trying to just, weigh the different trees from them and all those different build aspects, I think I'm going to have to settle on Rafa being our number 2. Because once again, there's a lot of like bug stuff going on. Like his skill tree is pretty cursed. Like Vitriol, I know, is doing some really weird things. Peacebreaker cannons, you can do weird stuff with like holding Malawans, like giving them beam tosser damage. Like there's a lot of really stupid bugs like that just are not going to persist. But there's a ton of really, really strong things. Like our grenade Rafa is crazy, crazy strong. I mean, it doesn't use any bugs to my knowledge. Like I don't know of anything really weird happening here. We use a lot of green tree, which is cool, and red tree, and we're able to just chuck endless nades. Like the clear speed is really quick. The bossing is ridiculous. I mean, you'll just make things insta delete. Even Radix, you might have the most health in the game. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he's usually my test dummy just because he is so healthy compared to some other things that I've fought, and he just instantly disappears when we throw out like 5 nades. It is crazy how strong like a not bugged grenade Rafa can be. You can obviously do torque stickies with like Bullet Buddy, infinite ammo shenanigans. Like there's some really crazy things you can do. I know some people have been going nuts with like the arc knives and Groundbreaker, but once again, that's pretty bugged territory. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't think the melee on their own hold up that great. But I do know Apothis Lance can do pretty well without any bugs. Like you can shoot infinite tasers and really weird things like that. Basically infinite underbarrels with certain underbarrels, which ends up being really strong. So there's like a lot of really cool things Rafa can do. He gets the movement speed, which is awesome, and just a bunch of different ways of playing, and does it all fairly well. I do think they're going to do some buffs to the green tree here in the future. Well, at least like the arc knives portion. I think the other two are mostly fine. Maybe some Apothis Lance stuff. Apothis Lance just kind of felt awkward most of the time for me, especially with some of the grenade stuff in there. Like whenever Rafa kills an enemy with Apothis Lance, drop a free grenade. I don't know. I wish it was maybe like hitting an enemy on a cooldown, something like that. And I know he has, class mods for that, but I think the Grenazerker just ends up being the best. especially considering Fire Pot being the best grenade right now. You want as many nades out as possible for more and more stickies. Yeah, overall, Rafa is incredibly powerful. And if you want any sort of diverse, build, he can do it, and you can do it really quickly. So yeah, Rafa is going in our number 2. Now, by process of elimination, that leaves Vex as what I think is the best Vault Hunter currently in Borderlands 4, at least, these first couple weeks. She obviously has, infinite stacking bleed that she can utilize, which, turns really silly really quick, but even builds that do not use bleed at all just go crazy. And you don't need a crit knife for most of them. Like, it's insane how powerful Vex is. Really, the only downside to Vex, in my opinion, is Red Tree. I don't know anybody really running a Red Tree that isn't, some variation of a bleed setup. There are some good nodes in Red for other builds, but for the most part, like an actual Red Tree trouble build, I don't know really anybody running it. So I do expect that side to be buffed a little bit. Maybe the AI gets updated and some more movement speed and damage to compensate would really help. But like specters are insanely powerful for leveling endgame. Like it doesn't matter. The specters go crazy hard. And I'm sure there's gonna be really stupid gun interactions that we can do. Like I already did one with the kickballer, which is obviously like a pretty bugged weapon, so I'm not really counting it there. But just as an example of, things that we're potentially gonna be able to do with the heirloom capstone on Vex, but otherwise like Dark Pact is really good. Getting 2 augments is crazy strong. Whether you want to do Reapers, Specters, like Blue Tree does very well. And then you go into the status effect stuff with Portents of Suffering for the damage. You get Prismatic Ichor for the bonus status effect, doing, more than your original, which is crazy. You can get that up to, 300% if you find a 5 out of 5 class mod, which is really strong. You get Keen Suffering, so you can make those crits. And Keen Suffering is like a big reason Bleed, can do what it can do. So there's just so much in blue that makes, Vex very strong. Green Tree is insane. You can level with it for sure. I definitely think green comes online later in the game as you get further and further. I don't think Energy Vampire was like one of the things I was most excited about because I wanted to make more like a AFK build, run around and just passively kill things, but it doesn't seem to really be able to do that, sadly. But like Witchy Trigger Finger is insane. You don't have to reload. You stack a crap ton of damage. Like it is very strong. You combine that with Vibe Check, and you're just constantly sending out your Eldritch Blast. And once again, you never reload. You just constantly stack up that damage, and you get kill skills on critically hitting enemies, which does benefit a decent bit from a crit knife, but is not necessary at all. Just aim. That's literally all you got to do. That's the only thing that crit knife really takes out for a lot of the builds with Vex is you just now have to aim a little bit. You have to think a little bit with what you're doing, but it's still just insanely strong. The gun damage bonuses you get is crazy. Like, for example, Grave Implements here. Kill skill, you get 20% damage. It stacks up to 3 times. You combine that with Grave Power, you get 3 more stacks. That is 120% gun damage just for free. And you can do that on a single target. Like, it is crazy. And you can stack this almost instantly when using the right weapons. Grave Sights, very similar scenario here. You get just a ton of crit damage for that. And it's just really strong. You get lifesteal. You get bonus kinetic damage with your guns based on your lifesteal while your health is full. So, like, that's a big thing that we're doing with our Amp Witch, which is, like, currently what I'm showing all this off on. You get a ton of lifesteal. With the Teen Witch class mod, you get even more over here with Grave Thirst and Red Tree. And you just stack a ton of lifesteal and it does a ton of bonus damage. You're stacking your kill skills really quickly. You're shooting multiple projectiles with the bod. It's really strong. I know people are doing some crazy Bloodshot stuff. Bloodshot is really good, especially on like some fast-firing multi-projectile weapons. It's really hard and it's very free to use. So like there's just so much going on for Vex that I think makes her so powerful. The only thing, once again, holding her back is this Red Tree, which I guarantee you they will mess around with. And maybe there's something crazy you can do with Red Tree that I don't know about that people haven't found yet. And that's like part of the reason videos like this are pretty tough to make because Borderlands has so much crazy stuff that takes forever to find out. Like I know we're 2 weeks in and we're basically know nothing compared to what we're going to know, a year or 2 from now. Like it's insane how much there is to find out about these games. But just, I have probably 300 hours in the game right now. I've played all the characters fairly extensively, and this is kind of just my opinions and how they end up ranking out in terms of their different builds without utilizing crazy bugs and crit knife shenanigans, that everybody's starting to really hate. So right now, I would definitely order them Amon, Harlo, Rafa, and then Vex as our most powerful. So yeah, if you guys have any disagreements, maybe you want to make a case for Rafa being the top, let me know down in the comments. I'm sure you guys, none of you will ever disagree with me. It's never happened before in a video like this. I've made a few of these for Borderlands 3, and everyone was like, wow, Chad, you're so right. I can't believe I was wrong and you were so right. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching this far in the video. I really do appreciate it. Once again, if you can leave a like and just comment, your favorite Vault Hunter in the game right now. I'm very curious to see if that helps out with this video's reach. It's been really weird on YouTube, and I'm not the only one creator-wise dealing with this, so that would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.